Good evening. This is Community Board 8 Speaks. Community Board 8 in Manhattan, which encompasses the Upper East Side and Roosevelt Island. The Upper East Side is being defined by East 57th, East 96th, from East River to the east side of Fifth Avenue. And please visit our website, www.cb8m.com. There you can see the schedule for upcoming board meetings, committee meetings, and a link to a website that you can see these programs in the past. And tonight, this program is a great program about two really important organizations that make life in Community Board 8 wonderful, the Business Improvement Districts. We have Matthew Bauer, who is the president of the Madison Avenue BID, or BID, and we have Robert Byrnes, who's the president of East Midtown Partnership. And before we get started, we usually mention the websites of the guests at the end, but make sure you go to their websites. They are awesome. It's www.eastmidtown.org, and that's one word, East Midtown. And then also www.madisonavenuebid.org, Madison Avenue BID, one word. So thank you for being here. I did get those websites right.
You sure did.
Good. Okay. Well, one thing we want to get started with is to educate the audience about what is a business improvement district, because we hear about it all the time. How did they get started? What are they all about?
Sure. Well, there's 64 business improvement districts actually in New York City. The very first business improvement district was actually started in 1984 in Manhattan, the Union Square Business Improvement District, Union Square Partnership. Actually, before that, there were some special assessment districts in Fulton Mall in Brooklyn and Jamaica Center in Queens. But business improvement districts are public-private partnerships where the property owners, commercial tenants, residents, elected officials work together to provide special services above and beyond what the city could normally provide to their area. Property owners in the BID pay a special assessment that's collected by the city, turned over to a board of directors to spend on services like additional sanitation services, security, marketing, capital improvements, just to make their neighborhood stronger.
Now let's get specific to each of your bids, because they're, although they help make Community Board 8 a wonderful place to live, you cover different areas.
Right.
And we were talking before the show about you have kind of different audiences, different participations. Rob, why don't you get started? Talk about East Midtown Association, or East Midtown Partnership.
Sure. The East Midtown Partnership's been around since, we opened our doors in 2001. The property owners, residents, and businesses in the district worked for 4 or 5 years before that to get it up and running. And just so your audience understands, we cover an irregular shaped district going from north to south from East 49th to East 63rd Street and from 2nd Avenue almost to 5th Avenue. So 48 blocks, it's the third largest district in terms of geography in the city. So yeah, we've been since we've been there, we've been working on the bread and butter of what all the bids do: sanitation, security. In our particular case, the board of directors has taken a strong interest in homeless outreach. More recently, we've been working to, we've been investing a lot of time and effort into marketing the area and also building an identity, not just for the district, but for the business improvement district itself.
What about your area?
Yeah, Madison Avenue BID actually formed in 1996. It's a mile and a half along Madison Avenue from 57th Street north to 86th Street. Has about 450 businesses in that area. It includes the flagship brands of some of the world's leading designers, from Giorgio Armani to Ralph Lauren, to Calvin Klein. Barney's New York is there. We have over 100 art galleries. We're a major hotel center with 6 hotels, soon to be reopening. 2 of them, actually, the Mark and the Surrey. And restaurants and all sorts of businesses that are all feed and built upon the luxury marketplace. And in many ways, Madison Avenue also is a main street for the Upper East Side and for the entire community. And the services that we provide really work to enhance Madison Avenue as a great place to do business, a great place to shop, and to build community awareness awareness and community involvement among our businesses themselves.
Well, it sounds like you do have a lot of common issues. What are the differences between your bids?
I would say that what the number one difference is that there is a strong identity, as Matt just pointed out, to what Madison Avenue stands for, what kind of business is located on there. The world's premier luxury brands, art galleries, some of the world's best known, most exclusive hotels. And I should point out, too, I worked at Madison Avenue for 3.5 years before going over to East Midtown. So I do know the Madison Avenue BID area pretty well myself. What we don't have is that cohesive identity. We have a lot of elements that put together make for a very special district, but they're very disparate. The Waldorf Astoria, Bloomingdale's, the Decorative Arts District, which is one of the world's largest concentrations of high-end home decor and interior design professionals. We have luxury shopping on Park Avenue. We have more mid-level shopping on Lexington Avenue. As we were talking about before the show began, a large concentration of very great restaurants in the East 50s especially. But all those things are good, and all those things are very positive, but the one thing they don't have is a consistency. So our challenge is to work to build an identity we have to build a geographic identity, which makes us fairly unique for a business improvement district in New York City, especially in Manhattan. We have to build an identity we have to ground up build an identity for the district at the same time we're branding our organization.
But what we share in common, I think, is a real sense of stewardship of our neighborhood. We have property owners, retailers, elected officials, Community Board 8, all working together to enhance the neighborhood, and brainstorming ideas in our board meetings and bringing them to fruition, out on the street. And I think that sense of stewardship really is a very common link between our bids and within all the bids in New York City.
Absolutely, Matt's point is well taken, and I should also add, because it's going to be easy to talk about us, but we both have very small staffs for both of our bids are within the 10 largest ones in the city. And we both operate with only 2 other people administratively, unless you fired someone else. And so we operated a little bit of a handicap compared to some of the larger bids that have a lot of administrative staff. And Matt alluded to it, but I want to make sure it doesn't go unreinforced. Our board of directors are also very roll-up-the-sleeve types. They're local stakeholders. They are primarily the property owners of the district and the businesses of the district, but we have government oversight. The mayor's office, through the Department of Small Business Services, the city comptroller, the city council, and the borough president all have a seat on our board of directors, and also the community boards. And Matt has 2, I have 3, but they've been among some of the strongest proponents of both the bids and what the bid can do for the community.
Well, we were actually talking a little bit before about, and you mentioned just now about branding, that Madison Avenue has an inherent brand in itself, and you're working on branding. So we thought we'd show some of the branding efforts you have. I don't know if we don't have a Zoom, so you have pens, but I also wanted to show, I'm not going to open this up here, but people, if you're walking around East Midtown, you may see a lot of people with these umbrellas. Can you talk a little bit about these efforts, Rob?
Sure.
This is the logo, by the way. I don't know if I can get this without opening the umbrella.
It'd be bad luck.
You can see the logo a lot easier if you go to www.eastmidtown.org and then sign up for our newsletters and email blasts also. But yeah, the concept behind this and the concept behind really everything we do these days, Monica, is we need to brand ourselves in order to brand the community. We need to make sure that logo and our name are out there. And we came to this fairly late. We've been in business since 2000. I said 2001 before, my mistake. It was 2002 when we opened our doors. One of those things I should have known, right? But we tried to be very discreet. We it was a purposeful act on the part of the staff and the board of directors that we wanted to kind of ease into the landscape, to get our work done without being seen. The problem with that is that after a while, people are kind of surprised when their streets are swept at first, and after a while they think that the sweeper fairies come out at night and just magically make all the dirt go away. And we realized we weren't getting traction with our community. Our logo, our name were both understated. Our work out there was largely unlabeled. So we're trying to get out there. We're labeling what we do. Our new street, we've just started planning in the district. Taking the money we used to spend up in the air on hanging baskets no one saw and that we couldn't label, and now we're planning along 56th, 57th, 58th, and we'll be expanding it, but we'll be having a sign in the tree pit that says that we are the ones that planted it. The umbrellas are a way to get our name out. Ads that we're doing are a way to get our name out. The pens, the new name, our names that are now more prominent on the trash receptacles. It's pretty much whatever we can do to get it. The fact of the matter is we aren't going to be effective if our constituency doesn't know we're there, because we need to hear from them and get the feedback from them in order to do a good job. If they don't see our name out there, they don't know what's happening. They think that the streets are magically cleaning themselves, that the 400 homeless people that we've gotten into treatment programs over the last 7 years just happened into it. And we need to, we don't need to boast, but we need to let our constituents know what we're doing, that we are a resource. We're here for them and you. And they need to know how to contact us, and they need to know our name is out there.
Yeah, it's been very effective. And the unified street signs are been a beautiful enhancement.
We're very happy with that project.
Right.
It's a major investment in streetscape, and we hope to do more things to help you, not just unify the streetscape, but to clean up the street clutter out there. You know, we know we compete. Every time we do something, we're cognizant of the fact that we're competing with every other visual distraction that's out there, which is why when we try to do things, we try to do them in a way that as we add to the streetscape, we're also enhancing it by taking out other eyesores. You know, instead of DOT directional signs being slapped all over on every pole, now we're putting them all in a neat frame. Makes it look neater. They're new signs, so it's a fresher look. It's easier for drivers to understand what they're supposed to be doing out there. So it's win-win-win.
Right. Other than working, I assume your bids work together in some way. Do you work with each other a lot, or do you work with other bids?
Yeah, actually, we have a New York City Bid Association where all the bid directors meet every month or so to discuss common concerns. Actually, www.nycbidassociation.com.
Oh, really?
I think
everybody should look into that.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see us all. And actually also by going to the New York City Department of Small Business Services website, you can also see a list of all the bids in New York City. But yeah, we do work together and to share best practices, I think, with each other and how we have dealt with certain programs and problems. But, you know, we all have very strong relationships with local city government and city agencies like the Department of Sanitation, the PD. You know, through that, it's been a way we can all work together and help each other.
It's a very supportive. We all do. None of us are in competition with each other. We're all there to help support each other. We recognize that you know, this isn't like the case of governors snatching businesses from one another or anything.
Oh,
This
right.
is a case
One
of
state versus another.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is a case of education, mutual support, sharing information. I probably have saved our constituents money by learning by listening to the advice of other people who have tried something and failed, much as I have probably saved them money by things I've done that have not worked. So, you know, it's all information sharing.
Here's the trick question of the night. Successes and failures. So can you talk to us about what you feel your greatest successes have been, and what have been your failures? If there have been any, there probably aren't, but if there were?
I think the greatest success is seeing those businesses to work together and to be willing to list all of their names alphabetically on an invitation. These major brands, and I think that's been a major success because every business relies on their neighbor's success, and they're all investing a considerable amount on Madison Avenue, and I think that they all benefit by their neighbors doing well and working together. I think the most difficult thing is dealing right now is with what's happening in the economy. I think it's we're in some difficult times. I think we all know that, and trying to work proactively to come up with solutions to solve problems of getting clients to come out. And I think that just going back to what the basics are, which is customer service, great products, is really what's going to do it. But I think the biggest difficulty for us has been, how to address the changes in the economy and the negativity that pervades from the newspapers on.
Rob, what would you say?
I would actually. I'm going to again just kind of jump back and support Matt. I was at Madison Avenue when he started there, and what he said is absolutely true. When he started, he wanted to do. Was that When Fashion Meets Art? Was your first?
Yeah.
And it eventually involved over 100, wasn't it? Galleries and retailers, right. Boutiques. But everybody said you can't do it because you won't be able to get, Calvin Klein and Dolce & Gabbana and Ralph Lauren and Valentino and Armani are not going to work together because they're too competitive. And it got put together, which was, a major feat. Now they do it routinely, which is, nothing ever is easy. But, we have a similar situation. I took from that when we started at East Midtown. We had a similar situation with the decorative arts industry. We did a somewhat similar event called Inside Dec Arts. We did it in 2005 and 2006. And that was designed to help bring consumers into what is traditionally regarded as a wholesale environment. Some degree of success. The problem is for the amount of time and effort and money it took to put on the event, we were only servicing about 20% of the entire business improvement district. So the board decided that our resources would be better spent on district-wide approaches. I think that the lack of cohesiveness is my biggest challenge, and the fact that we are only beginning to find our identity after 7 years would be, to the extent there has been a misstep, that would be the largest one. But we're back on track now. Now I'll say why that is a success, why I feel it's a success. The feedback we're getting now is something I have not, and the energy level we're getting out there is something I haven't really experienced up until the last, say, 9 months. We're getting calls now from our constituents where we used to be invisible to them. We are getting people calling to ask how they can get involved with our marketing efforts. It's tough stuff to quantify, but it's definitely out there. And, without repeating myself too much, but the fact is that shows that there's an increased recognition that we're there to serve them, and, they're picking up on that.
When you're working with the other BID organizations, do you work to try to attract attention from outside of New York to your area? I know you have an effort internationally.
Yeah, actually, yeah. We've the Madison Avenue BID has actually built a number of partnerships abroad. We did a wonderful event with the West End group in London, and Bond Street Association in London, and our Pink Ribbon campaign, our annual breast cancer awareness campaign. We recently did a marketing program with Rue de Faubourg Saint-Honoré in Paris, and co-branding, co-marketing, and right now we're about to enter a partnership with the Marunouchi district in Tokyo, which is essentially their financial district, to co-brand, co-market as well. Actually in early August, we're going to be having a Japanese ceremony on Madison Avenue, launching off this event, which should be a lot of fun. And actually during September is something called Golden Week, or Second Golden Week, where there's a lot of visitors from Japan coming to New York, and we're actually going to be providing some special services for Japanese visitors, from Japanese speakers in our stores to a whole bunch of other special offers. So yeah, we work quite a bit to brand Madison Avenue internationally, and to work with our wonderful NYC & Company, which is our Convention and Visitors Bureau, to get the word out about Madison Avenue everywhere.
Well, East Midtown, now you're working on the cohesiveness, and I have to say, personally, when I see the logo now, I have a recognition, maybe because we know who you are and everything, but
Yeah.
I certainly feel it's coming around. Do you have any outreach yet, or are you just still working on the
It's
building?
it's largely internal, or at least New York City based,
Right.
New York City and suburbs based right now. But the board and our retail constituents are, we're facing the same economy everyone else is, and I'm getting some vacancies, and many retailers are weathering the storm fairly well, but this is. I've got a lot of what I'd call high-end mom and pop stores, places that only need to sell a couple of items every month to make the rent. But that's getting, that's tough. So we're watching out for them. And I think they're right now their natural consumer base is in the tri-state area at least. But the board and the retailers want to continue to push on the marketing. We are looking at other resources and other avenues, and I think it's not going to happen in the very near future, but sooner rather than later that we'll look to burst out.
We only have a few minutes left, so one thing we want to find out is, looking into the future, what do you think is the biggest issue each of your groups is going to be facing in the next few years?
I would still say, I think that since we don't have a crystal ball, we would certainly say that it would be what the economy, and I think that as we are, I think as we're hopefully working towards a solution, nationwide towards to our concerns in the economy. I think Madison Avenue will continue to be strong, largely because we have such a great loyal base of shoppers that live on the Upper East Side, that shop on Madison Avenue while walking their dogs. They see what's in the windows, and they make those purchases. And I think that is going to continue to be our greatest strength, is the community, and I think that our greatest difficulty will always be what's happening sort of in a macro level internationally in the economy.
What about your group?
I think Matt's got it. It's the economy is going to continue to be a challenge. And as far as what I could see myself doing, the image building has got to continue, and those are going to be our big emphasis. And we're going to, obviously sticking to the knitting, keep making sure illegal vendors and peddlers aren't in the district. Keeping up with the trash, trying to find creative solutions to the very basic problems we have every day, and But the thing is, no matter what we're doing out there, I think we both know there's always more we can do to make the district our respective districts attractive, and to help improve the entire city.
You have such, I think, terrific jobs. What would you think would be the profile of a good bid president? If somebody out there in our audience said, I want to be president of a bid, what do you think is needed to be a good bid president and to have a good bid organization, other than an economy, having a good economy?
That always helps.
Listen, being a good bid president really depends upon having a great board and a board of directors that's very supportive and that is giving of ideas and suggestions. We have on Madison Avenue some of the greatest retailers in the world and property owners and elected officials that are residents that know their stuff. And if we could take their great ideas and bring them to fruition, I think that would be that's the key to our success. And I think that your ability to actually listen to what they're saying and figuring about a way of bringing that to fruition is really the biggest challenge. And I think that's what a good bid director does.
And patience and persistence and perseverance, knowledge that you have a lot of forces working on you, but if you just stick to it, hopefully you get somewhere, but you got to stick to it. Like Matt said, the board stuff is important, the board contributions and the constituent contributions. And the creativity is the one other thing. You've got to be able to think differently than everyone else because you've got to be fast on your feet and look for a new solution. If someone says no, maybe they mean no. Find a plan B or C or D.
Well, thanks so much for being here, and visit the websites I just mentioned before, and also our website, which is cb8m.com, and have a great,
Thank you so much.
bid.
Thank you, Mona.
Thanks, everybody.